So for this news video, it is fitting that I selected two former IWGP champions from their time in New Japan. But now we speak about Wrestle Kingdom 17, and it starts with a report from Fightful Select, or specifically Rocky Romero, and an interview with Fightful Select about how Kenny Omega's return to New Japan came to be. Back in June, Kenny Omega, in an interview with Fightful Select, started talking about running an angle with Will Ospreay, and that piqued the interest, apparently, of New Japan and started the discussion between New Japan and Kenny Omega about a return and a match with Will Ospreay, which partially explains why it didn't happen at Forbidden Door. It is because there was no discussion about it happening at Forbidden Door, and also I think it is because, as Tony Khan said, Will Ospreay is one of the more featured performers in New Japan, and he was not looked at in the same way as a member of the AEW roster. So Tony Khan stopped himself from insulting New Japan by not, by using a dream match that could give New Japan more money, or that would be better off happening in New Japan. One thing that did put the future in doubt of the match is the fallout from the brawl out at All Out, as New Japan did not know if Kenny Omega would be available for Wrestle Kingdom due to his suspension that was levied against him by Tony Khan after the fallout from the brawl out at All Out. That is actually the first time that I've said that, so it is actually very catchy, and I can understand why people have said that and continue to report it even long after even long after All Out, and took any opportunity that they could to actually keep reporting information about such event. Another bit of information about Wrestle Kingdom 17 is that apparently, according to reports from both PW Insider and Dave Meltzer, they cannot confirm or deny who will be with Sasha Banks, but according to reports, Sasha Banks will not be at Wrestle Kingdom 17 alone. It is unknown if Naomi is going to be with her, but there were reports late last year that Naomi's contract with WWE had expired, so it is possible that Naomi is done with WWE as well. I, for one, thought that maybe, just maybe, she would stick around because of the fact that her husband, Jimmy Uso, works for the company in a very prominent position, and I do know that there was discussion about Naomi joining the Bloodline because of the family ties. But I guess maybe Naomi didn't want to do that, even though, logically, with Sami Zayn walking away from the Bloodline soon, or being excommunicated from the Bloodline soon, having Naomi join the ranks of the Bloodline would be able to keep the stable with the same numbers that everyone knows it to have. But that's just me. So, would I be surprised if Naomi is with Sasha Banks? No, because according to the reports, at first Naomi wanted to return with Sasha as a tag team, and I think that's what everybody expected. But when it became kind of clear that that wasn't going to happen, I think the question became, would Naomi return and let Sasha go somewhere else? That was the question, and I think, in fact, that is something that most people figured would happen now once it became clear that Sasha Banks would not be returning to New Japan. I mean, would not be returning to WWE. But I just figured that if anything, Naomi would return because of her husband still being a part of WWE, and just go back to being a singles superstar. Because Naomi is more than capable of being a singles wrestler. But in my opinion, if New Japan has found a way, if New Japan and Stardom have found a way to secure both Naomi and Sasha Banks, props to them, because it just makes their women's division all the more credible, which is something that a brand new division is in very much need of, and will do nothing but help their fledgling women's division become all the more credible. Speaking of New Japan's biggest show of the year, Wrestle Kingdom 17. Wrestle Kingdom 17 is set to take place on January the 4th, which is 2 days from tonight, or 2 days from today. So not only will we have Dynamite taking place on Wednesday, the first Dynamite of 2023, and the first Dynamite from the Pacific Northwest, but also it is Wrestle Kingdom Day on January the 4th, so it is a massive day for wrestling on Wednesday this week, with Wrestle Kingdom and Dynamite taking place on Wednesday. We have Rohei Oal and Bolton Oleg, the King of Pro Wrestling 23, Antonio Inoki Memorial 6-man tag team match, Toji Makabe, Satoshi Kojima, Yuji Nagata versus Totsumi Fujinami, Minoru Suzuki, and Tiger Mask. The idea that all those guys, Fujinami for one, is probably in his 60s at this point, but I would say the one thing that all those guys probably have in common is either being in the ring with Antonio Inoki, or even being trained by the late great Antonio Inoki, because Inoki is the man that put New Japan on the map. Antonio Inoki is the one that is the reason why New Japan is a thing, and without Antonio Inoki, we would not be here on January the 2nd talking about January the 4th. And what is more than likely Minoru Suzuki's final match in New Japan before he goes to All Japan, it is one final tribute to his mentor. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships as Francesco Akirina and TJP versus Leo Rush and Yo from the former Show and Yo fame. Ren Zarita and Zack Sabre Jr. collide for the for the New Japan World Television Championship, the first ever New Japan World Television Champion. Never Openweight Championship is on the line as Carl Anderson fights Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga is looking for his first taste of singles gold in New Japan, and Carl Anderson is in what might be his last contest in the bright lights of the Tokyo Dome, so it's going to be quite a brawl between two of the originals of the Bullet Club, Kairi and Tam Nakano for the IWGP Women's Championship, which is going to be interesting because you will likely see presence from the former Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Varnado. In Muta's final New Japan match, Keiji Muto will team up with Shota Umino and Hiroshi Tanahashi against Naito, Sanada, and Bushi in a 6-man tag team match. Taiji Ishimori will defend his championship against Hiromu Takahashi, El Desperado, and Master Wato for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, and the FTR train is pulling into the station as FTR will defend their final tag team titles as they lost the Ring of Honor tag team titles at Final Battle, the AAA tag team titles last week. So these are their last set of tag team gold. The IWGP Tag Team Champions, FTR, will face Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto for the IWGP Tag Team titles. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega in a dream match for the IWGP United States Championship. The one thing that people don't understand is they fought before in PWG. But they have not fought since Will Ospreay became a main eventer, so this is a bit of a dream match in itself because Will Ospreay has elevated himself to another level since the last time him and Kenny collided. And the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 17, Jay White will defend his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against the ace of New Japan, Kazuchika Okada, in what will be a match that will blow the roof off the Tokyo Dome, as both men, in their own ways, are tributing the founding father of New Japan, Antonio Inoki, with the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 17. This promises to be a banger of a show, as New Japan very sparingly, if ever, disappoints with outings from Wrestle Kingdom anytime, and it usually gets the year off with a bang. Once again, Wrestle Kingdom 17 takes place at the Tokyo Dome on Wednesday, January 4th. Take a look at your New Japan app or New Japan World for more information on this, the second major wrestling pay-per-view of 2023, the first taking place on New Year's Day, that being Pro Wrestling Noah's outing with Shinsuke Nakamura and the Great Muta. But wrestling continues to take off, be banger after banger with Wrestle Kingdom 17 on January the 4th. With that being said, I will see you in the next one, because this is me signing off until next time.